Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all the geeks out there, and our little geekdom, and welcome to another Our Little Geekdom. It is episode number
51.
51. We've been doing this for a long time. Wow. And we're very, very, very happy to introduce one of the guests that we've actually interviewed a game with. His name is
Kiev.
I forgot your name.
Sorry.
I wasn't gonna mispronounce it. I just forgot it.
I've mispronounced it. I'm sorry. But it's Kiev.
It's Kiev. And he is actually one of the producers for Dolmen, guys. Dolmen, the game that just released recently. I can't say yesterday.
You should remember the first impression video that we did back in December 2021. This is one of the head honchos. Well, in my eyes, he's one of the head honchos of the game. And we were fortunate enough that he agreed to sit down with us. So welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Kiev. Tell us a little bit about you first, and then we'll move on to the game.
Hi everyone. It's nice to be here. I'm one of the producers of Massive Works Studio. I'm working with Dolmen. We just released the game 24 hours ago, and I'm here to see your first impression, of course, the second impression maybe. This full release the game and see what you can do about our bosses. I hope that you die a lot. That's the intention of the game. I can tell you that I died more than 2,000 times in the last 2 years, so I can maybe give a little bit of tips and experience, see if you have any problem. Talking about myself, I'm from Brazil. Massive Works Studio is located here in Brazil as well. And I hope you enjoy the game. Let's see what we can do.
Awesome. Okay, so
I have to ask, because you said you've died almost 2,000 times. Do you get a trophy for dying a lot in the game?
No, and not even a raise on my payment check. No. I got extra coffee. I don't know if that's good enough.
It's good enough for me.
It's good enough. Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine. So, tell us a little bit about how Dolmen came about. What inspired the game? I mean, like I've said, and as we've seen through the videos or through the previous video that we did, I have played the game, and I felt that it had sort of a mix of Mass Effect Warframe sort of look to it, but the gameplay was very Dark Souls, break my heart often enough in the game that I just, it hurts when I play. But getting experience along the way and actually learning how to kill them in different fashions is also the idea behind it. So, well, at least that's what I can see from my side. But what was the I mean, how did you guys actually come up with that idea? It still boggles the mind.
That's a long history. Let's talk about this. 4 or 5 years ago, the team had this idea that they wanted to do a Souls-like game. Souls-like, it's, as you said, a difficult kind of game, and the actual challenge is to defy yourself. You need to challenge yourself to get better and understand the problem and came up with solutions and try to advance in the game. This is the challenge. But we also wanted to do something new to the genre. We wanted to do a sci-fi game. So we're looking for a lot of inspirations, Mass Effect, Dune, Alien, the film. And that's literally 20 inspirations that I can say. But each one of the main team members would tell you a different answer, because I think that everyone see a little bit of what they like in the game. What do you see? When you play this game, what do you think that is familiar to you?
So much. Me personally, like I said, it was Mass Effect, Warframe, definitely two of the ones that I did see, especially with the
Warframe. Yeah, Warframe is out. It's out there.
Yeah, that's
popping up,
and that's
on
where
the
especially the armor that gave me the very Warframe look to it. That's what I felt from there. Mass Effect was more about the weapon control and how you can actually use the weapon, like your ranged weapons. Definitely I've got to say the movie that movie, I think it was called Edge of Tomorrow, where the guy
Edge of Tomorrow,
yes, where the guy keeps dying and coming back.
Yes, felt, exactly.
Especially now that I got the story, because I've got the story for the very first time today. I actually started seeing the story, and it had a lot to do with they were saying that as I was busy reading some of the lore, it was saying that it feels like they're constantly having to repeat every single time, and it feels like the time frame keeps changing, or their timeline keeps changing as they move. And I was thinking, yeah, it's very Edge of Tomorrow I like it.
Yes.
So those three really stand out for me quite, and obviously Dark Souls, because I die a lot.
That's the idea.
Yeah,
that's the idea. But if you keep trying, get better.
Exactly, and it's those points there stand out a lot for me. I'm not sure about Kez. Angel, what stands out for you?
Warframe, through and through. Warframe comes through, and the Dark Souls thing, but also because I haven't seen Ziff play the fully released game, but I remember in the first impressions there were little notes on the ground to say, sort of like in Dark Souls, where try this instead of doing that, kind of like tips and guides to help you along your way, which reminds you a lot of Dark Souls. So those were the two that stood out for me the most.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Oh, sorry, you were going to say something.
No, go ahead.
So with that in mind, obviously, as you said, the team came up with the idea, and each member had their own input into it. You can see it. You can definitely see it. The body of the game as well, I've noticed, as you were saying, you mentioned alien-like. Thinking back now, while I'm busy playing the game in my head, I can actually see the idea behind the alien, the like tunnels that the aliens use. I can sort of see the same thing going on there. That makes a lot of sense. That you were saying that it's definitely got the alien feel to it. So regarding that though, now obviously each one of the members of the game of the team have played the game. You say you've died 2,000 times. What about the other members? I mean, have they died more or less?
The CEO probably died 5,000 times. It's complicated because he is one of the developers. He is also act as a QA member. He always testing the game, trying to improve the game. And there is no better way to improve the game than actually playing and dying and asking yourself, that was a fair death?
Yeah.
Did I die because of my skills, or did I die because the game is unfair? This is the line we need to approach. You can die. That's no problem. But you need to ask yourself if there was anything you did wrong, or the game is just punishing you without any reason.
Yeah, of course. So with obviously with your QA testers, those you said the CEO is one of them. It must be quite a daunting task for these guys. I mean, having to go through each and every level and having to die all the time to make sure that they can find out whether it is fair or isn't. I mean, you know, how difficult would you say the job is for the QA testers alone to have to do that?
I don't know. I think we needed about two years to see everything that can actually kill us. It's insane. It's insane. Okay, you need to do it all day, 24 hours. You need to keep playing and thinking things like this. What happens if I fall from here? Obviously, I will not fall, but I need to try to fall in order to know if I can die here or not. And you see things like this. I'm jumping from every platform I can jump just to see if I die. That's insane. So of course, it's a funny activity in the first 2 months, but after 3 years, it's not so fun.
Start getting
well, you have, like you said, you have to try, because you'll get people like me who play the game and go, "Ooh, look, what's that way?" And I just run and I don't see what's going on, and I might just fall and die, or I might just fall and hurt myself. And you need to, like you said, you need to know if you don't fall, what will happen, and that kind of thing. But it's crazy that it took so long just to do all that tests.
It took so long because you need to think like this. What happens is if I fall and don't die because the edge was not high enough, and you are stuck in some place of the game where you can actually leave and you can advance because you fall but not enough to receive damage enough to die, so you are actually living in the pool of nothingness. So that's how crazy the job is, because we need to test all possibilities.
Yeah, and I suppose that's also where beta testing came in. So obviously you guys had beta testers come out and jump on Steam and do some of the work for you there as well, just to find some of the stuff that you may have missed. How important is it for you guys to actually be using those beta testers? So the guys who jump on Steam and go, I want a beta test, I want to see what the game is like. How important is it for you to have those guys actually give you the information? This is obviously for the guys out there, for all you guys out there who are looking at beta testing games, why the developers need this kind of thing. Obviously, I'm going to ask I want to ask Kiev now if he can actually tell us why it is, so that you guys know what to expect and why they need it so much, and also maybe you can tell us what you can tell them or what you can give them as a company. So is it important for you guys to have beta testers?
A lot. I mean, can you imagine building a car in a factory, and of course you have good engineers, you have good marketing team, you have a CEO, but you don't know if the car is safe?
Yeah.
That's kind of problem you're gonna have if you don't have beta tests. We need beta testers to tell us if the product is safe, if it's fun, and how can we hijack the product. You need to tell us what's the weak points, or we can actually work harder to make the product safe. And when I mean safe, because I'm comparing to a car, of course, I mean fun. The game needs to be fun, and you don't have you cannot have exploits that will actually jump from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, unless you are trying to do this intentionally. I don't believe so. And make the game silly. Okay, you want to do a safe place. You want to do a fun game, and you need a lot of beta testers to do that. Even now, the game was released and we are reaching thousands of people. Now, even after 5 years, we still receive the feedbacks about little bugs, and we're trying to fix it.
Of course. So, what is it when someone does find a bug? And obviously, now anyone who has been playing games and has been doing it for long enough time knows that you should try and repeat the error to see if it happens again, so that you can actually record and send it, or so that we can record and send it off to you, so that you know what to do. But what is a good process for a beta tester to follow to actually be able to give you any of that kind of information? Basically say they find a collision detection's broken in one section and they walk through a wall. What is the correct way to actually approach it when they send you that bug report? What is a good way to do it? Just obviously give our fans a bit of an idea.
The procedure here would say, I would say that you need to qualify the bug. We have 3 types of bugs: A, B, and C. When you see a bug, it's a blue screen of death. Okay, something happening and your game crashes. And this is, of course, the main kind of problems we want to search and find before the game got released. Okay, no problem. But you also need to tell us how to repeat the bug. How can we replicate the problem 100% of the time, so that the engineers can actually analyze what's happening, what the lane of code is going wrong, and try to make a fix. And after that, you need to test again and try to repeat the bug. May be simple, but sometimes you can find a C bug that's just a glitch, just something actually small, but we can take 2 months to find out what's happening, how to fix that without everything else being affected.
No, of course, and that's very important. Obviously, we want to make sure that obviously the guys who are watching us, when they do beta test, they know what to actually send out to the companies, so that they don't just go, oh, the game's broken and I'm not happy about it, but you were beta testing the game. So you can't go after the company because you were beta testing and the game just happens to have bugs, because it's going to if you're beta testing. So because some people have actually told me before that they got annoyed with the fact that the game had so many bugs before it was released when they were doing a beta test, and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna have bugs. You're supposed to point that out and tell the developer. And
beta testers can also give us feedbacks. Okay, not necessarily a bug, but it can give us feedbacks. he can have an opinion, for example, that a shield is not working properly. I think that item is too poor. I don't think the damage is good. He can give us feedbacks, not necessarily bugs.
I've noticed,
and that's also important to make
But
the
as
game
long
better.
as it's good constructive feedback, not like, oh, it's too hard, you need to do something else
Make it
to make it
easier.
an easier game.
If the feedback comes with a solution, with a suggestion, and of course a positive criticism, it's always good.
Yeah. So
But sometimes you don't have to how to shoot. Sometimes you just receive a bad criticism and I punch in your face that this game is not good. Do it
How do you
again.
deal with that?
Happens, but
yeah.
How do
How
you
what?
deal with the bad criticism?
I experience. You're always gonna have bad criticism. You guys work with internet, of course. Sometimes someone who's not in a good day, and they will try to give you the negative energy, and you need to deal with that. Each one of us are humans, and each one of us is capable of dealing with that in some degrees. In my case, I duplicate the amount of coffee, just that.
No, fortunately for me, when it comes to obviously the channel and things like that, I've got a very thick skin. So, people will lob insults, and I just it runs off me like water off a duck's back. I don't take it to heart, because they're obviously just trying to get a rise out of me, and to me it doesn't work.
As human, we have the right to be angry for 2 minutes, and after that, leave it behind you, because it's not going to help
That's
you.
such a good way to put it. Wow, I never thought of it that way. The right to be angry for 2 minutes and no longer. That is very good. I like that.
How did you come up with the design for your aliens and the monsters? They're kind of creepy looking, but they're also I'm a weird person. I like to think that they all have little personalities of their own, and from the pictures and the videos that I've seen, they shine through. Each little monster and alien is different, and some you want to hug and some you want to run away from. How did you guys come up with the ideas for them?
It's funny because you said they are all aliens, but that's horror game. And spoiler alert, I don't know how much you played the game. Not all of them are aliens. Did you notice that humanoids called drillers?
Yes, I've noticed the drillers.
You actually save one of them at the beginning of the game. That's Seba, an NPC. He is human. This is a sci-fi game, so when you try to do a sci-fi game, you like to make these little plausible lies. One of the plausible lies here is that in the future, when humankind actually colonizes space, we will have different humans.
Wow, yeah.
This happens here on Earth because of countries. We have different ethnics, different kind of humans here in Earth, just because we have different countries with different distance between them. When humankind actually go to space in this universe, in this fictional universe, they got a lot different from each other. Drillers are one of them.
Wow, okay.
This is intentional, okay? We are talking about different humans, and the first time you play the game, you think they are aliens. They're just aliens. A lot of them are dead, of course. And maybe later in the game, you realize, hey, they are not aliens, they are humans. Are you more or less sympathetic about them because of this? Are you actually sensibilized or something like this because they are humans? This is one of the tones of horror we are talking about.
That is deep.
But about the other aliens, the other creatures, again, not of them are aliens. Some of them are actually from RevionPrime, and they were engineered to live in that country, engineered by humans to live better on that planet. But about inspirations, of course, there is a little of psychological analysis here. We're trying to make a fear feeling in the game. Horror is about that, and we talk about horror, talk about fear. Of course, that giving you examples of arachnophobia is one of the techniques. Not all humans, but a lot of humans are just afraid of things with a lot of legs. So, of course, when you talk about... So, of course, that when you talk about horror games, and Dolmen have not invented that, when you talk about horror games, you always see something with a lot of legs. That's one of the strategies. One of other strategies is a lot of eyes. So we always have something with a lot of eyes, and that's the line we actually follow here. A shadow, a monster, a scary jump. That's a common technique in Souls-like games. You're just walking and suddenly something screams. That's because we are trying to create this atmosphere. It will not work with everyone. You were talking about your editor. What's his name? He's a pro he's a pro when talking about Souls-like games. So probably enough of this will affect him. He will just get the sword and swap everything from But this is what we're trying to do. So a little bit of blood, a little bit of darkness, a little bit of legs, eyes, scary sounds, and we create the atmosphere.
No, you've done a good job. Honestly, when I first played, especially now, the map was relatively, like in the beginning, the map was still quite similar to what I remember, but there were definite changes. Like the one, I don't know what the spider creatures are called. I'm still trying to figure it out. I keep forgetting the name. I know that they were from.
We call it Mentalus. The spider things, we call it them the Mentalus.
Oh yes, okay. But the one jumped out of the wall or from between two crates, and I didn't see it. I got the fright of my life. I literally jumped out of my skin from it because it's you don't expect it. You know, one minute you're there and then you hear this behind you. And you're like, what the hell? And it doesn't help with these earphones either because you actually think it's behind you.
It's very immersive.
It is. It's really awesome. You guys have done, like I said, an exceptional job just building the game and the design behind the game. There's also what I wanted to ask you is with regards to weaponry. I've noticed that you've obviously got your pistols and your ranged weapons and your melee weapons. Each one obviously makes a difference. Now, when I first played the game, there was a comment that stated that your ranged weapons will not deal as much damage as a melee weapon will. Now, obviously, this was the first time I played it. When I played the game from when you guys designed it way back when. That's changed somewhat though, because by the looks of things, the ranged weapon, it doesn't deal as much damage, but it is useful to keep the enemy from coming close to you. If, like, for example, those dudes that launch fireballs at you, I'd like to actually keep them away from you because they deal way too much damage for me to want to actually go in close. So I tend to keep them at a distance, and then I hit them with the ice gun. And that seems to work quite well. But was that something that you were planning, that you decided that you should maybe make the ranged weapons a little bit easier to actually wield, or was that just basically generic and grew with the game?
Well, that's a good question, but the answer is a little bit complicated. First, I will try to make the main information here. First, we're trying to make different game styles. We're trying to make an innovative game in the Souls-like genre. So we try to make a balance between melee and ranged weapons. You may think that ranged weapons are safer or easier to play at the beginning of the game because you are using a cold kind of weapon, ice damage kind of weapon, against a acidic enemy. So this is a paper, scissors, and stone kind of mechanism. Are you familiar with that?
Essentially, the one
ice is good against.
Out. Yeah.
Exactly. So we gave you an ice pistol, and you are facing an acidic kind of enemy. So you think, oh, okay, this is easy. But this is the beginning of the game.
You got to switch it up.
Later in the game, you're gonna fight fire enemies and ice enemies, and they're not going to fall as easy as the spiders. Okay, that's the first part of the explanation. But the second part of the explanation again is aura. Okay, you have a gun. You think, oh, okay, I'm safe. I have a gun, and I will shoot that damn spider out of the planet. But you see later in the first stage of the game that you shoot and the enemy will reach you.
Yeah.
That's fear. when you shoot the zombie and you keep shooting the zombie and he's keep coming at you and you need to fight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a feeling we would that we like to make in this
and
kind
it
of
works
game.
very well. It does.
You step, you try to run
Yeah.
and fall, you and try to run and get stuck in something, in some web,
Or in
and,
my
and
case, fall to your
that's horror we are trying to make.
Because I fell to my death the first time I fought the dude that shoots the fireballs, because I was trying to back away from him and I backed away too far and I fell off the edge.
Yeah.
So there are times where you've got to learn from your mistakes and figure out that
Pay
you shouldn't
attention to your
dodge.
surroundings.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But
Yeah.
again, you
Yes,
learn.
yes.
You keep your cold blood. You're gonna aim properly, and you advance instead of
Yeah.
running, and you will reach their enemy, and you kill it, and the experience is
Yes,
good
it
as
is.
well. But next time, if you have time to do that, try different
Yes.
styles. Try to melee and try to range it, and you see the difference between the
Yeah.
experience we're trying
No,
to
I've
deliver.
noticed. Even now, I've noticed there's that one. It looks like a dog. In the very, it's still in the beginning of the game, the very beginning, where you have to go up the one hill. It looks like a dog. You cannot. A ranged weapon is useless against it. It doesn't do anything. But
Exactly, because it's a fire kind
so
of
it
enemy.
doesn't do anything to it. So what you've got to do is you've actually just got to use skill and fight it off with blades. Now the axe is good, but I found that the weapon that I made in the single-handed weapon it's like a science weapon. You have to have science to be able to control it. That weapon is powerful when against that particular monster, because I managed to take it out quite easily once I actually had that weapon. I'm me personally, I'm not very into using very heavy swords and heavy attacks because they're slow, and to me they hinder me, because I like to be able to dodge as well. So I like to hit and dodge as much as possible to try and get away from enemies. Is that going to affect me as someone who likes to play with more quick-paced melee weapons? Is it going to affect me if I have to do it that way, or will I be able to find a strategy even using quick weapons rather than heavy weapons?
You need to adapt it to your game style. If you like to play with small but fast weapons, you see that you can hit and dodge very well, but you will not be able to stagger your enemy.
Okay.
Stagger is this kind of it's a mini stun kind of mechanism, and it's hard to do it when you use weapons with low damage. You can hit and run, but you can't hit and stagger. You need to have a great weapon to do that.
So, I'm sorry.
A mixed style is possible because you can fast change your weapons. You can hit with a small sword, change your weapon, big bounce with a great weapon, a hammer or something like that, and you still run, but you need to specialize, you need stamina. That's the RPG kind of mechanism. You need to think in advance how you're gonna build your character.
And that's something that I took from playing Bloodborne with Toast, because him and I obviously played Bloodborne together, and he taught me one thing was with Bloodborne, basically just build up your health first, then focus on your stamina and your mana afterwards, but definitely build up your health first, because you're going to die really quickly all the time unless you actually do that. So it's something that I've actually incorporated in this as well, but not as much. So I've built up my health, but I also built up my stamina along with it to try and keep the two basically close enough together to be able to actually deal some decent damage. But there's other things that I need to upgrade too, and I realized that only after I'd started upgrading my health and my stamina, and I should have probably also focused on those ones and seen what they would do to the rest of my stats, because it might help with what I need to do now. So lesson to all you guys out there, this game is not Dark Souls. First and foremost, don't do Dark Souls like building and tactics on this game.
Just out of curiosity, the channel is called Podcast D&D. That's Dungeons and Dragons.
That's Do Not
something
Disturb.
Yeah. Sometimes we have people that just randomly just pop in while we're busy sitting with someone, and then it throws off the conversation sometimes. So D&D is Do Not Disturb.
It's actually Do Not Disturb. We do play D&D, but we.
do you play D&D?
I love D&D.
Do you play D&D?
A lot, but I you can make how can I say that in English? Let's say I do some goofy phrases here, okay? But did you try to play with a mage without intelligence?
Oh yeah, you magic would
actually. Actually, you can do some builds.
Can
with
you?
that.
With no
I was
intelligence.
actually gonna ask if you can play a mage.
That's what you can do in Souls-like RPG games, okay? You can actually do a character with a big sword without strength. You can do a mage without intelligence. They are harder to do, but they are possible to do. Dolmen has something like this. You can do a guy with a big sword that actually use the science attribute, not the strength attribute. You can build around that, but you need to be an experienced player. You need to know what are you doing. You need actually extra homework to plan a character like this. But it is possible, not just in Dolmen, but in other Souls-like RPG, action RPG. That's the beauty about RPG. You can do your thing. You can actually play your kind of game, your style on that.
Yeah, I like mages and those kinds of things. So I was actually, you answered my question because I was gonna ask, can you do a mage type character? Because I prefer to just be the mage and throw the magic and all of that. But like you said, you need to do your homework. So I think if ever I would just play the game through first and then with the normal character, and then on my second playthrough then I'll do the mage, because then I know what to expect. I know how to play the game. I think that would be the better one.
Yeah.
But you don't actually need intelligence to cast magical missiles. They will do the same damage, no matter if you have 20 or 8 in your intelligence. So if you play your character knowing that you're gonna choose every single spell that actually don't use intelligence,
you'll be fine.
You can actually do a mage with 8, score 8. So you did your homework. You actually know you're using shield, haste, magic missile, something like that. That you can do in our RPG action games.
No, that's really awesome. That's actually very, very well done. Now, speaking of playing through, since Kez said play through, or like she wants to play the game through first, do you guys have a new game plus like Dark Souls does? Do you do the whole new game plus thing as well, or are you planning on integrating?
No, we don't use the new game plus mechanic. What we do here is a different strategy. We use the Monster Hunter.
Yes.
Do you know this game? You can respawn bosses.
Oh yes.
Okay, because we think that the funniest part of the game is facing bosses.
That's true.
You actually do the new game plus is just for that. The new game plus exists so you can fight bosses again. So we gave our players the possibility to just respawn the boss when you want, spending Dolmen crystals. Okay, we think that's more fun than actually start the game again and face each one of the boss once again. Do you want to face the last boss 10 times? Okay, go ahead. You just spend your crystals and do it. Do it in multiplayer. Do it alone. Do it to farm some materials. Do it to gain some experience. You can do it. You don't need to restart the game to do that.
So
you can start the game with other character, of course. You can do the game again with a new character, but we think that facing the boss faster way would be.
That's also what people want more. Is they want that the boss replayability more than anything else. That's usually why people replay games.
Yeah, no, that is actually it's very cleverly done. I was actually wondering what the Dolmen. I was going to ask you why I'm collecting Dolmen crystals, because I haven't done anything with them yet.
Just to face the bosses again, or help your friends with the multiplayer feature, or of course farming some extra materials. There is a weapons that call it bosses weapons. You need to kill the boss 3 or more times to get the materials enough so you can build the Queen Canipte Great Club, for example. You need to kill the queen 3 times, 4 times, or even more if you want to make different kinds of the same weapon.
That is really cool. It's I like the idea.
That's similar to Monster Hunter to me. That's my inspiration.
Haven't played Monster Hunter enough. I think Kez and I are planning on installing it onto our PCs today. I think we've got it somewhere on one of our platforms, so we might just install it as well. But I'm not going to be playing it for a while because I'm stuck on Dolmen.
He's addicted.
I am. No, it's not a problem.
Sorry for that.
It's a good thing. But
It's a good thing if your game is addictive.
Yes, it means that you've done something right.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's enjoyable, and obviously we'll be recording videos of it as well, and placing some gameplay videos up of me dying lots
And dying. And dying. And dying.
Let's not say dying, because the timeline was erased. So actually going back and trying again to do it better.
I love the idea of the die repeat part. I thought that was very cleverly added in. To make it look like they're just reversing everything, reversing time, and basically just doing Edge of Tomorrow stuff again and again and again. It makes it intriguing, because I'm sure a lot of people who watched that movie were like, I wish I could play a game like that. And now there is actually a game where you can play something that is similar to that, which is quite cool. You know, I think personally, I like the idea. It's definitely one of those thumbs up things for me.
Talking about humans, this is one of the humans' wishes. Everyone, I think everyone would like to have the possibility to come back and do something differently once in a life. I don't know, a job opportunity, something that you would like to say to someone that you love. Everyone would like that. We try to bring that to the game, so you have a second chance to do it right, kind of thing.
No, it's good.
We thought that would be better than you died.
Constantly.
You died. No, you didn't die.
You're learning.
Go back, you have a second chance.
Yeah, exactly. It's very well done. I thought it, because I played Bloodborne a lot more than I played Dark Souls, so I got into figuring out how to work with Bloodborne. And when I played this, I was like, wow, it really feels like Bloodborne, because when you die, all of your points are left with your body, and I'm assuming that if you die again, then those points disappear, and it does the same thing that Bloodborne and Dark Souls does, where you lose all of those points then, so don't die until you pick up your points.
Don't get defeated twice the same way. Yes.
And the funny thing is,
that's a signature. Yeah. Every Souls-like game need to have that.
It's true.
You need to lose your
It's true.
things.
It is. It's very true. And it makes you not want to actually die. It makes you want to learn a different way to actually do it. And I remember that I died all the way up because I hadn't found the second. I call it a campfire, as it were, the teleporting point, or the beacon. Sorry, that's what it is, a beacon. I hadn't found the second beacon yet, and I died just before I found that beacon, so I couldn't go and quickly rush to get my points back. So I had to go all the way back to the beginning and carefully fight to make sure I don't die as I was going along. And now, going back, if I start from the beginning, it's easy. It literally is. I go in and I wipe them out. So I wipe all the enemies out as I go along. Only because I'm trying to farm now. I'm trying to build I'm missing some armor.
You just know what to do now. You mastered the
exactly.
The
I mastered the
game.
first part of the game, so it's easy for me now. And I'm busy farming now, so I can get a piece of leg armor. It's just the last piece that I'm trying to make before I fight the big boss. Because
Do you have any?
having some
Do you
troubles,
have
okay.
any tips or tricks when it comes to defeating the bosses in the game?
Yes, of course, I have a few tips. We are talking about the first
I haven't
boss.
fought any of the bosses yet. So.
Call it. I think you're talking about the first boss, the real big
It's
spider.
probably the big spider, yeah.
Okay. You first thing you need to identify that this enemy is an acidic kind of enemy. So if you use ice, you're gonna have some edge on the battle. Second thing, you need to understand how the artificial intelligence works. Did you realize that if you stay away from the boss, you keep spitting acid on you?
I've
Did you
noticed
realize that?
I've noticed that it's not just well, I haven't fought the boss yet. Like I said, I haven't gotten to the spider boss yet.
Oh, sorry. So that
No,
was a
it's fine.
spoiler.
It's fine. This is for other people as well. I don't mind. I've noticed though that just with the smaller creatures, they actually have AI as well, and that if they keep missing you, they'll find a different way to get you.
Okay, but that actually don't help. We're not gonna help you in the boss. I need you to face the boss so I can give you some tips, because without knowing what boss I'm talking, I'm just going to be. I'm just going to confuse you.
Probably.
Go ahead.
But no, I'll when I do face the boss, I'll probably just message you. And, okay, how do I do this now?
Okay, but that's a universal tip for this game. Your weapon matters. If you are trying to shoot something with ice, it will be effective against acidic. If you're facing someone that's from fire, you need to use acid. You have the paper, scissor, stone kind of thing, okay? Ice is good against acidic. Acidic is good against fire. Fire is good against icy, and so on. You need to test that and know what you're facing.
Now, something else that I thought was really quite innovative in this game was the reactors. I saw that obviously you have your fire reactor, you have your acid reactor, and your ice reactor at this point. Are there other reactors as well? No, just those three.
This first game we just have the 3 reactors. You start with one of them, and you need to get the other 2 and save Siba.
When you save Siba, yeah, I saw that, because then obviously I got the other 2 reactors. So what was the idea behind the reactors? Why reactors? What brought up the idea to actually have something that works only on? So for example, you activate your reactor skill, it uses your energy rather than your stamina. What brought that up? That idea up?
That's actually something old in the project. Back then, the founders, they wanted to make this doubtful atmosphere. They don't want you to know if you are human, alien, or machine.
Okay.
So when you tell you that you can change the reactor, what's this? Am I a robot at some point? Because you think that the reactor is something big, something eternal. Yeah. That's the feeling. They wanted you to doubt if you are human. So we need to give you some robot parts, and the reactor is actually there because of this. But later in the project, they also wanted to enhance the RPG element. So you have different strategies. You need to know if you are using this reactor, because the reactor has a passive ability, and you need to build up your character around this.
And
short answer is that it's just additive, elemental for RPG aspect.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. I've noticed that the something that was very clever, that you, like I said, adding in the reactor actually taking the stamina or switching stamina for energy. When you do that, obviously your strikes, your body turns, like for example to ice or to an acid look or something like that. Do your strikes also then turn into those particular elements as they go along?
You actually cause additional damage, elemental damage. You still do physical damage, but you add a little bit of acidic, ice, or fire damage. So you enhance your damage.
Right. So it's always good to actually build up all three, both your health, your stamina, and your energy, and try and keep them as level as possible. If you're looking at building that kind of a character where you can fight along those. Obviously, if you more want to focus on elements only, you'll bring up your energy and your health or something along those lines. But
yes,
it's nice to see that kind of an idea. I'm busy trying to figure out myself how I want to play the game, so I'll get there one day.
Remember, this is a RPG, so each one of the attributes is useful for something, and you need to find your way to play. You can play the game maximizing endurance, you can play the game maximizing energy, but you need to ask yourself what your style, because each one of these styles will give you different levels of difficulty facing different enemies.
You don't want to just go in there and just be a one-hit wonder and that's it, you know. Well, I mean, I suppose some people do, but you don't want to bore yourself and just go through the game constantly doing the same thing over and over again, because I mean that just defeats the object of playing the game.
Yes, we have different play styles. I have some member of the team that likes to play with all
Yeah.
weapons in the same character. They like to be changing weapons, changing guns, changing armors. I like to stick with the one I like. I like this rifle, I like this armor, and I'm going to do the game beginning to end with this set. This
Yeah.
is the style. But you realize that different weapons and armors need different attributes, so you need to plan in
Yes.
advance
Yes,
to use
yes.
such weapons.
I've
or
noticed
armors.
that. That I have noticed. Obviously, I've been building my all my armor pieces up now, and been having to add attributes to them and change them up according to what I think would be best in particular fights. So, for example, at the moment, I'm building a lot of fire resistance. Only because I want to be prepared for the future, not necessarily for now, but I'm building up a lot of fire resistance because I've been coming across a lot of fire things, so trying to keep that from happening and from being hurt too much. But also the fire armor seems to have a lot of defense as opposed to the other armor that was there. So I'm just going to build the fire armor for now because it's got the best defense.
It's a tanker. It's a tanker kind of build.
It is definitely. It's a very tanky kind of build, and it's quite nice. I do like it. It's going to make my character a bit slower, though. I'm assuming. So.
No, it's not actually slower.
Okay.
No, but if you are pumping endurance, for example, you're probably not going to have attributes to do the other things, like shooting a lot. Or,
yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
But the speed is the same, no matter how armor are used. You are used.
Cool. No, that's good to know.
So the game has taken you 5 years from start to finish. Are you and the team gonna take a break now, or are you starting on your next project, or what? I have to ask because obviously Dolmen is now finished.
That's
but
a good question.
It's your 5-year journey, I think, is done, and I think you guys deserve a bit of a break. But that's just my opinion.
That's an internal joke. Everyone who questions us, what's the next project? What's the next project? I tell them vacation. But that's a lie. The game got released. We are very happy about that, but we need to do patches. We need to do day one patch, 30 days patch, fixing little bugs that we now know they exist because the larger audience we have now. And we are also collecting data. We are collecting the opinions, talking to specialized people like you. We are trying to make a self-criticism, what the game can do, what the game can be, what can do better in the future. After that, maybe we take some 2-day vacation.
2-day vacation.
before starting all over again.
But
be honest, you guys. When was the last time you actually get vacation? You don't have that. You can go to the beach. You can take some days, but if you're notebook doing some research, something like that, you'll never get vacation anymore. You don't have that.
We don't. Not from our side either. I mean, content creators, we're creating videos
What is a
every week.
weekend?
So.
There is no such thing as a weekend.
This is our weekend.
I don't know what weekend means.
This is what we do on the weekends. We work on the weekends. We make videos. So it's like the week is for work and the weekend is for content creation.
But we like that.
You know,
we like that.
We don't do YouTube because we make money on it. We do it because we love it. Because we don't really make that much money. It's just not about money.
Will there be a next Dolmen game, or will you be working on something else? Obviously, you I know you most likely can't tell us too much, but is Dolmen going to be one of its kind, or will there be further games?
It's too soon
I was gonna say it's a bit
to
too
plan
soon
that.
to tell.
We still need to wait a few weeks, a few months to know what the audience thinks about the game. This can take some time. Of course, we want to do new histories, new games, new everything. But as a company, we need to wait. We need to see what the future brings to us, and we need to decide when you have enough information to take the right decision.
No, of course. I was going to say to Kez as well, I think it's a bit too soon to ask if there's a new project
I'm just eager.
yet.
I like the game. I want to see more. I want to see more from you people.
The problem is that seeing more means that they have to first get good stuff on Steam. And
No more vacations.
yeah, no more vacations.
Yeah, no, I'm never gonna have a vacation again.
Especially if this game is as successful as I'm really hoping it should be, because I believe that this game deserves quite a lot of traction. So suffice it to say, we will be pushing it quite hard from our side, because I do like this game and I think it deserves the applause and the cheering on. So we'll push from our side to get the game out there as well.
But I like the fact that you as a company are very interactive with the people as well. I mean, like, you've got a whole Discord server where people can just go and talk, and they'll have their opinions about the game, but they'll also have general discussions and things like that. And it's nice because there's another company that we interviewed with recently as well who also has a Discord server, and I think it's different because then you can get like your hands-on experience with the players and get to know the Dolmen community, and I just think it's nice. That's the point that I was trying to make.
Thank you. We try to do that. We like our community. They started the game with us, which back then 5 years ago when we had nothing, we had a community. So the community give us feedbacks. They are not beta testers, but they give a lot of inspirations, tips, and we like them. And they like us. We work with them. We don't have any reasons to don't be communicative or partners in this case.
Yeah, no, that's it is quite nice to see that. I also obviously agree, especially as like some of the AAA companies at the moment are not doing that anymore. I've noticed that they no longer communicate with the fans of the games anymore as much as like indie developers like yourselves do. And to be honest, I've had a lot of support for indie developers for a long time, because I've been let down and I've been shot one too many times in the foot by the AAA companies that I've gone, I really like this game, it's an epic game, it's really good, and then they go and basically just milk it for everything, and it destroys basically everything. And I'm just glad to see that there's obviously still indie developers out there that are willing to work hard to make this kind of a game as good as it is. So with regards to that though, I mean, are you guys going to be the next CD Projekt Red up to The Witcher 3? The reason why I stopped there is everyone knows what happened after that. Are you looking at becoming that kind of a company, where you actually still are basically independent, but you build the games knowing that the fans are the ones actually driving you?
I can't answer that because I'm not the CEO. I talk to him every day. I know what he thinks, but this is a tricky question. We are an indie studio. We do indie games, and indie games needs community, needs feedbacks from our public, our audience. Of course, we want to do someday AAAs, games that we're gonna win awards. That's the dream of everyone who works in this industry. And I don't know the future. I know what I know is that we're gonna try to hear our audience, our community, to do games that everyone can enjoy, that everyone can actually participate, because this is the spirit of community. When you say that AAA companies don't listen to the community anymore, I kind of disagree, because they try, but it's hard to manage it. Every single media, every single public that trying to speak with you. Do you guys work with different nationalities? I'm not talking about community. I'm Brazilian. I see you guys talking with Spanish people, with English, with everyone, Russian. I don't know. Everyone. How hard can that be if you try to communicate with thousands
of course.
people from tons of different countries, different language, different culture? So it becomes hard. But I think they try. They try. I like, for example, Blizzard's company. I like World of Warcraft, how they interact with the community. They don't answer everything, because that's impossible. But they listen sometimes. It can take 5 years, 10 years, but they will answer you and tell you, okay, we're going to try this because we listen to you. And even me, we try to listen. But between listen and taking action,
can be
that
difficult,
can be a hard way.
Yeah, so I suppose the best way to put it is maybe just like give the developers a chance to actually respond in certain aspects, like try and do that. And that there I think is where obviously it there is a slight difference, if you can call it that, between indie and AAA, because they're big corporations. You've got the higher ups saying you must do this, you must do this. I never blame the developers. I don't believe it's the developers' fault that games come out broken and things like that. They're forced on a deadline, and unfortunately that is the deadline that
Deadlines, oh god.
Look at the face, you see? All I have to say is deadline. And they know, every single developer, every single producer knows that there are deadlines set up, and it's normally not by the developers that do it. It's normally the higher ups, or even the I don't know, the advertising agency, or one of the agencies comes to you and says you have to do this now. And it was one of the stakeholders. Yes, the stakeholders come out and they say release it immediately, and you're like, it's not ready, we can't. I feel like that's what happened with Cyberpunk, and that's why Cyberpunk actually did have a bit of a flop in that aspect. I still support them. I'm still playing Cyberpunk because I still believe that CD Projekt Red.
I bought the game.
Exactly. I still play it. I still think it's a good game. I just think it came out broken, but I'm not angry. I'm upset that they released it so soon. They should have left it for a while and just carried on developing. In my opinion, I know that the stakeholders probably said to them, release it now, but I sat on the point of, if they'd just waited just a little bit longer, there would have been I think the community would have been a little more understanding. I know that the community was getting annoyed as well, and that also irritated me a bit. Is that you had these big name these big name media people saying, oh yeah, they're postponing it again, and you see that they don't care about you and this, that, the next thing. It's like, they do. That's why they're postponing it.
But that's why they should do what you guys did, where it said release date to be announced or to be confirmed, because then there is no exact deadline, and only when it's ready then can you say, okay, we're ready to release it, this is when you can expect it.
Yeah.
The deadlines has this name because of a reason, because you need to, or you're dead.
Yeah.
But that's complicated because this is a business. Nobody wants to release a bad game, but nobody wants to release a game that can pay for itself.
It's a very fine line.
You need to manage it between both extremes.
Yeah, I think we...
deadline, I was laughing because deadline and timeline is an eternal joke. You need to do it. Deadline, timeline. So we joke about that.
It was something we were speaking to Hannes about as well, the other developer that we spoke to, and he said that, the problem is there's the deadline, and then there's and that deadline is, there's a very fine line that you've got to follow, because if you don't get it done within that particular time period, the game becomes a money loser and not a money maker, and that's the big issue. And I agree.
That's a good word. I'm going to use that.
Well, it wasn't me. That was all. I think that was Hannes who was speaking.
No, that's a good word.
It's definitely something that is added in.
Exactly. You need to keep the company. You need to keep the everyone involved. The marketing team, that's huge, from Prime Matter. They cost
exactly.
Something. So money. If you delay the game indefinitely, and you are actually losing money, not your money from everyone. So you can't keep a healthy company like this. You need to understand what is a deadline. The deadlines are not cruel. So you asked us for 3 years. You need to do your job and deliver something in 3 years. Better quality, of course, as much as you can. But you cannot actually not deliver.
You can't promise something and not deliver.
That's not how it works.
That's work.
You can't maintain a school without food, without water.
Exactly.
You can say, it's not done. Go ahead.
No,
you can't do it.
It's correct.
Okay? You can't do it without teachers, without children. You can't do it.
Exactly.
It's not plausible.
And that's where I was, and that's why I said, I've been like this since the game. Like I said, I was upset that the game was released broken, but and I'm not talking about Dolmen. I was talking about Dolmen's fine so far.
Cyberpunk, any other title. You have tons of examples.
But I can be upset that the game is release broken. I do understand that, and I it's like one thing I like again about indie developers is that we in the gaming community would like to say gone are the days where a game is designed and basically runs perfectly on day one. You know, a lot of indie developers do try. I've noticed that.
We try.
You work really hard to get the game to be perfect and in working condition on release. But with the advent of stakeholders and investors and all these people putting money into the company and into the game and things like that, there needs to be some sort of show that there actually is something, and that makes sense to me. So that's why, in the same token, I can't be too upset with companies like CD Projekt Red for releasing a game that was broken because they were being forced to, not just by the stakeholders but by the gamers themselves. And I will always pin the blame on everyone involved when it comes to that, because when they said the game's not ready, we need to hold back, and they said that they're going to delay it because there's something wrong with the game, there was something wrong, and the gamers got really angry with them for that. And I can understand they're frustrated that they're waiting for the game. I was getting frustrated waiting for the game too, but I also wanted a working game, so I didn't mind waiting. A lot of them were saying, oh no, they're never going to release the game, oh look at them, they're lying to us. And I was like, guys, give them a chance. And you know, it's unfortunately, thankfully, CD Projekt Red are pulling themselves up like Hello Games did with No Man's Sky. So it's good. It's like it's getting somewhere. But nonetheless, back to your game.
Will your fancy cool T-shirt be available on your store to buy?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Not in all countries. We are releasing the game in different countries, 13 languages, and of course we can deliver T-shirts to everyone. Prime Matter is delivering some T-shirts for partners, but I don't think that the audience will be interested to buy it. So not in a lot occasions. I don't know. I think no.
Are you? Is the game? This is actually something that I always like to find out. Is the game released on hard copy as well as digital, or is it just digital?
No, both physical
Awesome,
and digital
because,
copies.
and is it released for PS4 and PS5?
Yep.
PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and
Nice.
PC.
I am buying a copy for my PS5 because I want to have a copy for my PS5. I don't care that I've got a copy on my PC. I like to have physical copies of games. I'm a bit old school like that. It's just who I am. It's who I've always been. I've been one of those people that likes to collect physical copies of games. Our game collection, if you look at I think it's our Facebook page, or
I don't know.
one of our pages, you just see the collection of games like lined up on the floor.
I will
And
take a
it
look.
increased since we moved.
Yeah, that's increased since we moved to the UK. So I do actually also like to have physical copies of games. So I will be getting one for my PS5.
Funny question. Funny question.
Okay, go.
Okay, so we're getting to the part where it's random questions. It's not related to your game. It's more to learn about you as a person. So, do you prefer dogs or cats?
Dogs, but I married and my wife say cats, so I need to say cats.
I asked this once.
My official answer was cats.
I asked this once and I forgot to ask it last time, but I'm gonna keep asking it, and I want to see who's logical and who just answers it for the fun. If you're stranded on an island, would you take books, video games, or board games with you?
Board games, of course. Iceland has no energy, so I need board games.
Logic.
Your turn.
So far, that's twice now. We've had people with logic who know board games because you know how to play anything. Okay, so let's see. Favorite superhero. Yeah.
Favorite superhero? I actually don't have one favorite superhero, but I actually like Doctor Strange because of the film. Doctor Strange. Don't ask me why.
That's good enough. He's a decent hero. I liked Doctor Strange as well. Me personally, I'm more of a Deadpool fan, but he's an anti-hero. So, favorite supervillain? Doctor Doom.
definitely.
Nice.
The Doctors.
Nice. Doctor Doom's also a pretty cool villain to actually.
Doctor Doom is definitely my favorite super villain. Doctor Strange, we can talk about him. I like a lot of them. Wonder Woman, I like Batman, but Doctor Doom definitely my favorite superhero.
Yeah, definitely is a decent. I agree 100%. I like that. That's a good answer. Your turn.
Burgers or pizza?
Burgers, always.
See, I'm torn between those two. That's my problem. I'm very torn between those two.
Fantasy or sci-fi?
Fantasy, actually. Despite Dolmen, I like
he's a
fantasy.
fantasy fan. There's nothing wrong with that. Favorite video game, excluding Dolmen.
Battletoads. Back a few years ago.
Oh, that was the one game that made me hate life.
I beat the
Well
game,
done.
so that's why I like hard
Well
games.
done. That game was really hard.
So you said you would rather take board games. What is your favorite board game to play?
Dungeons and Dragons is the only one.
Okay, if you
We
didn't
have
have
a
the
lot of
Dungeons
board
and
games here, but they are just for fun. But Dungeons and Dragons
if
is
you
the game.
didn't have Dungeons and Dragons as an option.
I will be a sad person. I can't answer GURPS because I don't like GURPS, so I advanced Dungeons and Dragons do not answer.
AD&D. AD&D. Ars Magica. Ars Magica. It's an offshoot of D&D.
No, not big fan. I play a card game called Magic the Gathering. It's not a board game, so this is actually a card game. So let me see. I think that's Seven Wonders.
Oh, that's a
is one
good
of my
game.
favorite
I actually
board
like
games.
Seven Wonders. It's
When
quite
you
enjoyable.
when you play Magic, what color is your deck? Because we play Magic. We used to play
I
Magic,
haven't
so
played Magic in years.
we're aware of the Magic games and how addictive and fun they can be when played. So, what is your favorite colors to play with?
I only play monocolor, but I play with 5 colors.
Okay.
Blue deck, black deck, head or green or white, but need to be monocolor.
Okay. Me, I'm a dual color, so I generally play green and black. I feel that the undead ability along with the super strength of green just really helps a lot in a lot of battles. But they're very slow decks. That's the problem. Both of them are very slow because you go up against red and you're kind of screwed. But that was back in the day. I mean, I haven't played for so long. I've forgotten most of what Magic is. Let's see what else. Favorite movie? And you can't say Edge of Tomorrow.
Of all time.
You can't say Edge of Tomorrow, huh?
I'm 40 years old. That's a lot of movies
Okay.
to
One
pick up.
best movie in the last 3 years.
I can't answer that. The best movie.
A movie that sticks out.
As I said, I like the Marvel kind of movie they do in the last few years, but I can't say that was the best because I'm trying to remember the film. I'm gonna skip that. I can't choose a
That's
better
fine.
movie.
Right.
I'm not prepared for such difficult
It's
questions.
not that
What is
difficult.
your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate. That's my theme.
It's a scene. You said you like fantasy. George R.R. Martin or J.R.R. Tolkien? Yeah. Yeah, my man.
Okay. The others are good.
Yeah, Tolkien is far better. Is that about it? I was going to actually say one more. Terry Pratchett or
Terry Goodkin.
no, not Terry Goodkin. The two different comments. Man, that other novelist, the comedy novelist. Should have forgotten his name. Favorite Terry Pratchett book? I'm sure you've read Terry Pratchett.
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay, then you don't Terry Pratchett. That's fine. No, it's not a problem. Favorite character in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, the violence. All of them.
Okay, so the violence. They
Are well constructed. They have history. They have backgrounds.
Hard to choose.
They actually good job. They were well done. I like that. even the eye in the tower looking for everyone. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Agreed.
Right.
I think that's.
But just for the record, I also like Lovecraft.
Oh, Lovecraft
author.
is awesome, though. I mean, the Cthulhu stories are great. I really enjoyed them.
Exactly. Cthulhu is top. I think he was a genius writing that
I
material.
agree, 100%. He definitely was a genius writing that material. That was one great thing to actually to read. But anyway, I think that's about that time. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show. What we need to do now is tell our fans where can they find you as the company, obviously, but also if you want people to find you
As
directly,
a person.
you can tell them too.
Mostly we are using Instagram. You can find us on Dolmen Game in Instagram, and of course you can find us in the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and
You're on Steam.
what's the name of the
Steam?
PC game? Steam. Sorry about that. And in Steam.
It's fine. It's been a long,
It's been a long
few
day.
days for you, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I need to get extra coffee now. You can find us on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series stores, and of course PC and Steam. You can find all about us, all about the game and news, and maybe join our community in Discord.
Awesome. There you go, guys. All the links will be down below. I'm not going to give you links to the shops that you can go buy games from, because that's just silly. We will leave a link to the Steam, to where you can get it on Steam, because that'll obviously make it easier for them to get it from there. But we'll also obviously leave a link to the Dolmen, to where you can find Dolmen and all that stuff as well, guys, so you can get to check it out. But yeah, I think that's about the end. Once again, Kiev, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a wonderful time. You've obviously given us a lot more information about the game, which is quite enjoyable. And hopefully we'll be able to be in touch again later on in the future once the game is more established and we can talk a little bit more. And if you've got like expansions and stuff, we can always talk about those too. And then I can tell you how badly I did in the game.
Thank you, guys. It was my pleasure, and I see you
Yes,
in the
definitely.
future.
Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, thank you for joining us. Remember to hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button if you really liked us. Hit the bell notification and like, share, and do all that great stuff, because, engagement is what we need. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And as always, remember...
Kiki.
Bye!